look like one WNBA player has found herself in major hot water after making some troubling statements about Charlie Kirk. Now, one WNBA player has basically been talking about this thing the last couple days, ever since this happened, is none other than, y'all guess it, Natasha Cloud.
Which may be the fight of the decade. So we're all looking forward to talking about those things, but that's not what's on my mind. What's on my mind was the shooting that happened yesterday in Utah. And we can slice it any way we want to, but what a horrific thing to see.
Natasha Cloud has never been the type to bite her tongue, but this time, the words she fired off online lit up a storm. The WNBA guard found herself at the center of a firestorm after posting about the suspect in Charlie Kirk's assassination, then scrambling to delete parts of it. But here's the catch. Once words leave your fingertips, they don't really disappear. Now, Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, and even ESPN's own Stephen A. Smith have weighed into the fray. From the look of things, this might snowball into a storm Natasha may not be able to recover from. And it begs the question, where's the line between free speech, misinformation, and responsibility? Does deleting a single tweet clear the air, or just stir more smoke?
The WNBA has chosen to continue to platform and keep Natasha Cloud employed. In fact, she came out and stated blatant lies about Charlie Kirk. I made a video on it over on the big channel. It says right there, I posted this yesterday, 24,000 views. Now, from the time I posted this, the views doubled. It's got 51,000 on it. So it's getting plenty of play now. And plenty of people are watching it. And the WNBA is really aware. Look at this. Virginia, I assume Virginia, Fever fan. The WNBA blocked this fan for calling them out. Block the fan.
Now, let's rewind the tape and really dig into what Natasha Cloud actually said. When news broke about the suspect in Charlie Kirk's assassination, Cloud jumped on social media like she made the discovery herself. In one since-deleted post, she said, "So, how y'all gon' twist this? Raised in a good middle-class family? Dad was an officer, divided by church leader, whole family of Republicans and gun owners and Trump supporters." Then, in another post, she flat-out labeled the suspect's parents Republicans, far-right Republicans. That kind of language hits differently, especially when emotions are raw and the nation is grieving.
To his family, and I'm sorry to people that might feel a certain type of way about this young man dying, but we are humans. Where's the empathy? You know what I'm saying? No one deserves to die for their beliefs. You know, let's just all keep it 100. You know, we just got to keep it real. Because if that's the case, people will be getting murdered every day. Now, one WNBA player has basically been talking about this thing the last couple of days, ever since this happened, is none other than, y'all guess it, Natasha Cloud.
She tied the conversation to race, pointing out that when the suspect turned out to be white, HBCUs, historically black colleges, started getting threats. Cloud then responded to a criticism of that post by another user, using more racially charged language. "A white boy is literally Waddy Island. He didn't even have facial hair. Stop being soft," she wrote. On Wednesday, shortly after Kirk was shot, Cloud used the incident to call for tougher gun laws in a post on X, tweeting, "I'm tired." Cloud wrote, "We need legislation surrounding our firearms. No family deserves to lose a loved one when these are controllables. Your Second Amendment was written for guns that took powder, not military-grade weapons. We're the leading country in gun-related deaths."
Now, Natasha Cloud balled out last time we seen her on the basketball court. She basically turned that frustrations and applied it to the basketball game, because she's making major headlines, man. Even a couple of days after this, she's still tweeting and talking about this whole Charlie Kirk thing. And like I stated, man, I think this story, but this is a touchy topic. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm going to remain neutral in this. Only thing I will say personally is that I don't believe the young man deserved to die.
Cloud wasn't only venting as you may think. In her eyes, that was proof that violence and intimidation aren't evenly judged in this country. That's not a throwaway line. That's her bringing activism right into the middle of tragedy. Now here's where things get sticky. The posts that speculated about the suspect's family family politics may have vanished from her feed, but in today's digital world, screenshots live forever. Deleting a post doesn't erase it. It just signals you felt the heat. The deletion looked like regret to some, while it was too little, too late for others. So, here's the question I'll throw right back to you. If you saw those deleted posts, should hitting delete mean forgiveness? Drop your take in the comments.
The news, it's all over YouTube, it's everywhere. And I challenge anybody to take a look at that and tell me that you didn't cringe. I'm happy about sports today because it's supposed to be a reprieve, something that pulls you away from life's travails and what truly ails us all. And I'm not going to get into any politics or anything like that. SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio ain't the place for that. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to be honest with the listeners out there everywhere to let you know.
When Stephen A. Smith steps to the mic, you know the room goes quiet. And on this one, he didn't mince words. Live on ESPN, Smith called out anyone, even hinting at celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. His voice cut sharp. That wasn't just commentary. Smith even went as far as to applaud the New York Yankees for holding a moment of silence for Kirk, saying that simple act showed dignity in a moment of national fracture. Why does this matter here? Because while Natasha Cloud fired off political takes and later hit delete, Smith drew a hard line in the sand, reminding everyone that before politics, there's humanity. Whether you liked or loathed Kirk, death is not a scoreboard.
Outside of the obvious is that he had 2 children, 5 younger than 5 years of age. Both were in attendance and saw their father get gunned down. He had a wife, their mother, who was in attendance, who saw her husband get gunned down. In the world that we're living in today, I don't care who you are. You're white, you're black, you're Hispanic, you're Asian, you're Native American, you're Jewish, you're Catholic, you're Christian. I don't care. At some point in time, the one thing that sports needs to remind us about, the importance, the appreciation that we should all embrace, is how it brings all of us together.
Now this all circles back to Cloud's dilemma. She wasn't trying to dance on a grave, but when you speculate in public, people can take it that way. Hit subscribe if you agree with Stephen A. Smith's demand for empathy first, politics second. On the flip side of the spectrum is Sophie Cunningham. Where Cloud hit send with fire, Sophie chose the more quiet route. Her public responses were restrained. Just simple phrases like prayers up floating on her social media. And the contrast couldn't be sharper. Cloud's posts crackled with urgency, pulling politics, race, and gun laws right into the center of the storm. Sophie's voice barely rippled. It was conventional, careful, almost safe. But make no mistakes, some fans applauded Sophie for staying classy, arguing that tragedy is no time for finger pointing. Others accused her of sidestepping, saying those thoughts and prayers posts feel hollow if you never address the deeper issues.
No matter your color or creed, no matter your ethnicity, no matter your upbringing, your background, etc., when you wear the same uniform as somebody else, when you play in the same league as another contemporary, when the sacrifices that you make to elevate yourself to a certain level is something that's mirrored by hundreds, if not thousands, of other individuals out there, reminds us all that we're all God's children. And that universally, when we see something like that transpired, we got to collectively come together and understand that the world that we're witnessing and the world that we're living is pretty damn messed up.
It's a fascinating fork in the road. One player pushing confrontation, another choosing compassion. Neither path is wrong, but each paints a different picture of what responsibility looks like when the world is watching.
Now, with all that being said, Natasha Cloud has made the headlines, and she actually deleted some tweets. She deleted some stuff, man. This is what she put up on social media the other day. That kind of got her in this hot water. It stated breaking Americans are reportedly furious as WNBA player Natasha Cloud continues to play in the league after posting Charlie Kirk lobbied to be shot in public on X.
Now here's the tightrope. Athletes today don't just play ball, they broadcast. With a single post, they can reach hundreds of thousands instantly. That's both power and pressure. Natasha Cloud's situation shines a light on the double edge. On one hand, she spoke out on gun laws and systemic racism, issues that resonate deeply with many Americans who feel ignored by politicians. That's advocacy, and in a democracy, advocacy matters. But here's the rub. Alongside that, she posted things that weren't verified. Comments about the suspect's family politics, links to threats against HBCUs, and tying events together without evidence. That shifts the conversation from raising awareness to fueling speculation. And speculation, in moments of grief, can pour gasoline on a fire.
She put on a bunch of muscle, and she looked like she was ready to go for the 2025 season. Well, these new images of Caitlin Clark got her looking like her original self, going all the way back to her Iowa Hawkeyes days. And a lot of people, even myself, was questioning Caitlin Clark adding all that muscle at the beginning of the season. And I'm here to tell you,
this is the dilemma. When do players use their voice responsibly? And when do they unintentionally mislead? Go too far one way, and you risk silencing real concerns by over-censoring. Swing too far the other, and reckless speech chips away at credibility. Cloud's case sits right in the middle. Her call for tighter gun legislation was solid policy advocacy. Her deleted posts, though, gave critics the ammo to say she crossed into misinformation. It's the classic push and pull. Freedom of speech doesn't erase responsibility for the ripple effects. And when you're a professional athlete, those ripples aren't small, they're tidal waves. Type free speech if you support her right to speak, and accountability if you believe she should verify before sharing.
It's funny how that turned out. So she's out there, and I'm going to tell you, she went absolutely unhinged. Her Twitter feed is full of blatant bullshit. And so I made that video right there. We'll get to some reaction because a lot of fans that watch Caitlin Clark, watch the Indiana Fever.
The dust is still settling, but the fallout is real. For Natasha Cloud personally, this firestorm could leave a mark. Reputation takes years to build and minutes to dent. Sponsors, especially, are watching closely. No brand wants to be tied to a headline that reads, "Athlete under fire for celebrating tragedy." Even if that's not what she intended, perception often outweighs nuance.
And there's a lot more love and a lot more brotherhood and sisterhood and humanity that goes on in this world that doesn't. Yet, the few who are evil amongst us are the ones that screech and make the most noise. And it's affecting us in a way where it's getting to a point where you're going to get scared to walk out in the streets. You're going to get scared to show love and affection and even to say hello to your fellow man and woman, your neighbor.
For the WNBA, every time a player's tweets dominate news cycles, the league itself gets pulled into the spotlight, and not always the kind they want. Behind closed doors, you can bet there are conversations about social media conduct, whether the league should draw clearer lines, or if this just comes with the territory of giving athletes more voice. Should Cloud issue a clear apology, even if she thinks she was partially right, or stand by her words no matter what? And now to Caitlin Clark's involvement. There are Facebook group posts claiming Caitlin Clark has waded into the fray and that she called for a moment of silence. While we await the authenticity or otherwise of these posts, here's something to take home. As the face of a new generation in the WNBA, even silence or assumptions about what she might say gets amplified. That's the spotlight Clark lives under. Every word, every pause, every retweet is measured against her brand, her rookie season, and the league's growing fan base. Moments like Natasha Cloud's teach rookies the stakes. You want to be authentic. You want to speak truth. But there's always a shadow question. Will this post cost me fans, sponsors, or even peace in the locker room? That's not just pressure. It's a tightrope walk that never ends. And if the league responds by drawing stricter social media lines, Clark and her peers will feel that squeeze the most. One slip, one hot take, and the internet never forgets. Deleted doesn't mean disappeared. If you were in Clark's shoes, would you speak your mind loudly or stay quiet to avoid controversy?
Let me see if I can find a picture of Caitlin Clark, because This right here, bro. This current image. I mean, even this one right here. Look at her neck. Now, this was towards the end of the season right here, but she's even smaller than this. So Caitlin's smaller than this right now. The one at the bottom. So the one at the bottom, I believe that's from like July, June.
Here's where the story lands. Natasha Cloud reacted in the heat of the moment. Some of what she posted was grounded in her beliefs about gun laws and racism. Some of it leaned on assumptions she later deleted. So what do we do with this? Our culture is quick to punish and quick to commend, but not always quick to weigh both truth and compassion together. Maybe Cloud crossed a line. Maybe she was also pointing to a truth bigger than the headlines. At the end of the day, responsibility and empathy aren't opposites. They're both required. And that's the side of the spectrum we should see from. We would really appreciate your thoughts below. Do you think Cloud deserves grace or consequences? Hit like if you believe in speaking truth, but only with facts.